Picture a small software company in Europe 2026. It's late at night. Rain taps the window. A developer sips coffee waiting on lines of code. Every day, his team leans on one of the smartest AI models on Earth. It writes code, drafts reports, helps the company make real decisions. Then one morning, it's simply gone. Not bankruptcy. Not a server crash. A government thousands of miles away decided his country shouldn't have access anymore. In July 2026, Reuters reported Chinese authorities were discussing something remarkable: restricting overseas access to China's most advanced AI models, even ones not yet released. Here's a question worth sitting with. If a single file can hold world-class coding, analysis, and cyber skill, is sending it abroad really just software? Because 80 years ago, another government asked something strangely similar. What happens when knowledge itself becomes power? This is the story of the new nuclear secret. Let's be precise before we go further. China hasn't banned foreign use of its AI overnight. This is still under review, not a finished policy yet. Reuters reported that officials from China's Commerce Ministry, joined by state planners, met tech giants Alibaba, ByteDance, and ZAI over the past month to discuss limits. They discussed something bigger than one product line. Should China's most powerful AI, including models not yet built, count as a protected national asset? Here's the confusing part for most viewers. Restricting overseas access isn't one simple thing. AI can cross a border in at least 4 completely different ways. As an API call when a foreign user remotely queries a Chinese server, as downloaded model weights, as a company acquisition, or simply as a login. Old-fashioned exports were easy to picture: a car on a ship, a chip in a box. But if a model never physically leaves the country, has the intelligence still crossed the border? That question alone should tell you why this story is bigger than another "China restricts technology" headline. China faces a real dilemma here. Spreading its models abroad built global influence and a bigger developer base. But power that spreads can also arm rivals. But wait, is this really just China being closed off again? Because a rival superpower had already crossed a strikingly similar line first. June 2026. Washington's national security order does something almost nobody expected. It blocks foreign nationals from Anthropic's most advanced models, Fable and Mythos. Because there was no way to verify a user's nationality in real time, Anthropic disabled both models for everyone, everywhere, foreign users and Americans alike. So let's be exact here too. America didn't permanently ban Anthropic's models worldwide. Weeks later, after new safeguards, the restrictions on Fable were lifted. Mythos, built for cybersecurity work, stayed limited to a smaller circle of trusted American organizations. But the precedent had already been set. For years, the AI race was fought over machines, GPUs, chip-making tools, data centers. Then the front line moved from controlling machines to controlling access itself. Washington's fear wasn't really China might outcompete us economically. It was sharper, that a frontier model could find software vulnerabilities or aid military planning. Yet America isn't sealing AI inside its borders. It's still pushing mid-tier and commercial AI out to allies. Call it spread the ecosystem, protect the frontier. Here's the twist almost nobody caught. That same June, a White House directive demanded no company or adversary could ever switch off AI the military depends on. Washington knew it. Denying others access to your AI is power. But depending on someone else's AI and having them able to cut it off is danger. So here's the pattern forming already. 2 rival superpowers, 2 opposite political systems, asking the exact same question: who should touch our most powerful AI? Most of us meet AI as a chatbot. Write an email, plan a trip, summarize a PDF. Simple, helpful, almost invisible in the background of daily life. But governments look at the exact same model and see something else entirely. A military sees an analyst, an intelligence service sees a pattern detector, a cyber unit sees a vulnerability hunter, a government sees infrastructure. Ask yourself, is that still the same friendly chatbot you use at home? Think of AI control as 4 stacked levels. Level 1, who can build intelligence, meaning chips. Level 2, who can train it, meaning compute. Level 3, who can copy intelligence, meaning the trained model file itself. Level 4, the newest one, who can simply use it at all. The conflict in one line: It's moving from controlling computation to controlling cognition itself. That single shift is what this whole story is really about. Technology doesn't become a strategic asset just by being useful. It usually needs to be dual use, hard to replicate, and able to tilt the balance between nations. Sound familiar? The last time the world feared knowledge itself could shift the balance of power, it built one of history's most guarded secret projects. 1938, Germany. Scientists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann discovered nuclear fission in a quiet laboratory. At first, it's simply a scientific breakthrough, nothing more. Then physicists realized what that discovery could become. A chain reaction and potentially a weapon more destructive than anything humanity had ever built before. 1939. Physicist Leo Szilard drafts a letter for Einstein to sign, warning President Roosevelt an extremely powerful bomb might now be possible to build. Here's the crucial detail people miss. The terrifying question wasn't, should America want this? It was, what if Hitler's Germany builds one first? Strategic technology is often defined not by how much you want it, but by how much you fear a rival having it first. Sound familiar yet? Swap Germany for China, or swap it the other way, and you get today's exact fear-driving AI policy in Washington and in Beijing. The Manhattan Project wasn't just a formula on a chalkboard, it was Los Alamos, Oak Ridge, and Hanford. Entire cities, power grids, and hundreds of thousands of workers. The lesson carries forward directly. The strategic asset was never just the bomb. It was the entire system capable of producing the bomb, from mine to lab. Today's parallel. The strategic asset may not be the chatbot itself. It may be the entire system capable of producing frontier intelligence, chips to data centers. 1945, Japan surrenders. The war ends. You'd expect the secrecy to end with it. Instead, something surprising happens. The control gets built into law itself. America's 1946 Atomic Energy Act created restricted data. Nuclear information treated as protected the instant it's created, before anyone even classifies it. It was literally born secret. AI isn't legally born secret today, not even close. But governments in Washington and Beijing are both starting to ask a strikingly similar question. The moment the most powerful AI capability is created, should it face government review by default? That question alone should unsettle you a little. 1945. America holds a total nuclear monopoly, the only country on Earth with the bomb. 4 years later, in 1949, that monopoly quietly disappears. The Soviet Union tests its own atomic bomb. Locking a door doesn't always make a rival give up. Sometimes it just raises the value of building their own. China lived that lesson firsthand. October 16, 1964. China detonates its first nuclear weapon in the desert, declaring nuclear autonomy from the superpowers above it. Now bring that history back to today's Chinese AI industry. Advanced US chips are already restricted. Manufacturing equipment already has bottlenecks. Now model access too? So would China really keep giving its best models away for free? No strings attached? Once access itself becomes a national security question in Washington? But here's a trap we have to avoid. Saying American sanctions single-handedly created China's AI industry. That's simply too simple, and it isn't accurate. China had already been building AI as a national strategic priority for years. Outside pressure likely raised the value of a plan already in motion. So this Chinese review is really three strategies colliding at once: spreading influence worldwide, protecting frontier capability, and building self-reliance against US pressure. Reuters' breaking views put a real number on the cost. China's biggest AI names, valued in the tens of billions, still rely heavily on international capital markets. Restricting access risks that global goodwill and gives every mid-sized country on Earth one more reason to build its own sovereign AI instead of relying on China. History offers one more twist here. Britain helped build the atomic bomb alongside America. Then the 1946 McMahon Act cut that wartime nuclear partnership off completely. In 1947, Britain built its own bomb anyway. The lesson: an ally can share technology today and still restrict it tomorrow, no matter how close you are. Now, we have to draw a hard line here. AI is not a nuclear bomb. Treating them as identical actually hides the differences that matter most. Difference 1. Material versus information. A nuclear weapon needs actual uranium or plutonium. You cannot copy 10 kilograms of it with a simple keyboard shortcut. An AI model's weights are just information, files that can be copied, mirrored, and leaked in seconds. In some ways, that makes AI harder to contain than uranium. Difference 2. Facilities versus the cloud. Nuclear sites leave physical footprints, massive buildings inspectors can visit. AI lives scattered across servers nobody can walk into. Nuclear inspections have relied on the IAEA and its safeguards since the 1970s, verifying physical material. What would an AI inspector even check? GPUs, logs, laptops? Difference 3. Nuclear weapons last for decades. Frontier AI ages in months. Today's top-secret model can be an ordinary commercial product by next year. So nuclear control was a long game of decades-long non-proliferation. AI control may really be a short, constant sprint to protect a shrinking window of advantage. Difference 4, maybe the most important. In the nuclear age, states controlled the weapon directly. In the AI age, states increasingly depend on private companies instead. A military depending on foreign-built AI runs into a new problem. What happens when the company changes its terms, or a government imposes export controls overnight? This sounds theoretical until you meet the one country taking this question the most seriously of all. A nation currently fighting a real war. America and China both ask, who can access our AI? Ukraine asks something different and sharper. Who has the power to shut our AI off? For a startup, an outage is annoying. For a corporation, it's expensive. For a country actively at war, that same dependency can become a genuine strategic vulnerability. Reuters reported this week that Ukraine's chief AI officer, Roman Kaislai, said the country now favors models it can run on its own servers. For Kaislai, a model's country of origin matters far less than one thing. Can Ukraine actually control where and how it runs, no matter who built it? This is self-hosted AI in plain terms. Remote AI runs on a foreign company's servers. If they cut access, it simply stops working. No warning needed. Self-hosted AI runs on the country's own infrastructure instead. Even if the outside supplier changes policy or vanishes entirely, the system just keeps running. One important clarification, though. Self-hosted doesn't mean homegrown or better. Ukraine is testing Google's Gemma and Mistral models, both foreign-built, just deployed under local control. Remember Britain in 1947? An ally today, restricted tomorrow. No matter how close the partnership, Ukraine, America's key wartime ally, is learning that same exact lesson now. And remember that White House directive from earlier? America worries about the exact same vulnerability. What if its own military becomes dependent on someone else's switch? So maybe AI sovereignty was never about building the smartest model yourself. Maybe it's about who holds the power to run or stop the model you depend on. So picture the fallout if both giants lock their doors. If America restricts frontier AI and China restricts frontier AI, what does everyone else do? Europe already gave us the answer. After the Anthropic restrictions, Reuters reported Siemens, Renault, and Orange now deliberately mix US, Chinese, and European AI models. Orange's own CEO said it plainly. This made clear how important it is for Europe to control AI that will never be switched off on a whim. There's a paradox here. Tighten control and a rival builds its own version. An ally grows nervous and the world ends up more fragmented, not less. Unlike the nuclear age, though, the answer here isn't simple. Too much AI restriction risks widening the gap between rich and poor nations even further. Too little restriction risks military misuse, cyber attacks, and stolen capability spreading unchecked. So here's the real question this leaves us with. How open should intelligence be? The nuclear age created a world of secrets. Restricted knowledge, export controls, and allied clubs determined never to fully depend on someone else again. Now something similar may be starting again. China weighs restricting its best models. America already showed model access can become a national security question. And Ukraine, fighting an actual war right now, is asking the boldest question of all. Should critical AI ever remain under someone else's remote control? The nuclear age was defined by who had the bomb. The AI age may be defined by who holds the switch. After hearing this, what do you think? That's a wrap for today's story. Maybe the most powerful country of the future won't be the one with the smartest AI, but the one that decides who gets to use intelligence at all.